Okay, this video is about riding the horse bareback after riding him with a saddle for a long time. Like when you ride the horse with the saddle for the first time, usually the horse will feel weird about the saddle. He will be afraid. He might try to buck because the saddle is new to his body. And that's something expected, and people think and know it's normal. If you ride him bareback for a long time, then ride him with a saddle, he will feel weird and will be afraid or scared for a while, then get used to it. Now, sometimes you ride the horse with the saddle. You never ride your horse bareback. So when you try to ride him bareback, after riding him with a saddle for a long time, does he have a bad reaction for it? Will he be afraid or scared from the bareback riding? In my opinion, although it's not an opinion, it's a fact, you can try it for yourself, he gets afraid and scared from bareback riding because it's weird for him too. Now, the saddle is weird, it's something clear. It's weird because of the girth. When you ride the horse bareback, you are very close from his back, and your legs are loose when he's loose, and your legs are touching his body when he's using his body. So you don't use the legs all the time. Usually, let's say 70 or 60% of your riding is with loose legs. But with the saddle, there is more weight, and the girth is tied to his body for the entire ride. So it's very weird for him. So he needs to buck before getting used to it. So when you put the saddle and lead him or ride him or put him inside the paddock and let him play, he will buck because of the saddle. Even if you ride him bareback for a long time, he knows riding, knows the rider on his back, still when you put the saddle, it's normal for the horse to buck. But when you ride him bareback after a saddle, why does he feel weird? It's very simple. In my opinion, not because of the body, because he already accepted you on his back with a saddle. So bareback is closer to his nature. There is no girth, it's less weight, and it's closer to his nature. So he should like it and love it more, and he will. But in the beginning, he will be afraid. He will have some reactions because it's weird to him. What is weird? Not the weight, not the girth, or losing the girth. In my opinion, what's weird to him is your reactions are completely different. I'm talking about bad riders. Bad riders depend on the saddle to sit on or to stay on the horse's back. They stay on the horse's back by using the saddle. They put the weight on the stirrups and stay on his back. So when they take the saddle off his back and ride him, their reactions are completely different. Because bareback, you cannot depend on the saddle. There's no saddle. So to stay on his back, you have to fix your reactions. And the bad rider doesn't have a good reaction. He has a bad reaction. So he will use strength with the rein to stay on the horse's back. So the horse is feeling something different. In what? In your reactions. It's not about the girth or the weight or the saddle. It's about the man on my back, the woman on my back has different reactions now. Why? I don't know as a horse, and I don't care. But I know for sure there is something different. If that something different becomes better, he keeps getting better. If that something different becomes worse, he keeps getting worse. So in my opinion, yes, they will feel weird about bareback riding for the first time. Not just because of the saddle or the weight or the girth. In my opinion, because of your reactions. If you ride the horse with a saddle and you ride him bareback, he will notice a real difference in your reactions. Your reactions will be completely different compared to your reactions with the saddle. You will try to stay on his back or keep your balance on his back by using the reins. And that will scare him. You will feel weird about it. So you must let him know that that change, let's say, that difference is for the good, or for his good, not for his bad. It will make him become better and not become worse. So it's a good thing, not a bad thing. So that's my opinion about changing your way of riding from bareback to saddle, or from the saddle to bareback. Yes, in my opinion, even when you leave the saddle and ride bareback, he has some fear. He will be afraid. He will be scared. He will have some reactions, and he will feel weird. But it's in your hands. It can become a good thing and it can become a bad thing. Which one is more obvious and clear? Of course, changing the bareback riding to a saddle is more obvious and clear, because it's close to his nature to ride him bareback. But it's far from his nature to ride him with a saddle. So when you put the saddle after bareback riding, he will be afraid more and scared more, and he will feel more weird about it more than the horse you ride bareback after the saddle. But still there is some difference. He will be afraid, he will be scared, he will feel a little bit weird compared to other horses. So changing is good sometimes. Now, the other point, in my opinion, is something I talked about before, which is breaking the horse without putting the saddle on his back. A lot of people say that you must put the saddle on the horse's back and let him buck before riding him. It doesn't matter what is your way of riding, you must put the saddle on his back and turn him loose in the paddock, and he must buck with the saddle, because if he does not do that, he will buck you off his back. I believed that for a couple of years, and I thought that they are right. But with time, I started to think. They said it's impossible to make the young horse give you a full stop, and I did that. They said it's impossible to break or start the horse from the beginning until the end, bareback, and I did that. They say it's impossible to totally control the young horse like you control your own horse, and I did that. So I started to realize that what they say is absolutely correct in their way of riding. If you ride like them, what they say is correct. But if you already achieved things that they did not achieve, things that they did say it's impossible to do, and you did these things. You achieved what they said is impossible. You did what they did not do. So put the saddle on his back before riding him is something they say because of their way of riding. Because when they ride him, with or without a saddle, he will buck them off. So when you put the saddle first, his bucking will be a little bit less compared to his bucking if you ride him immediately without the saddle. So they make sense in their way of riding. But if I say that he will not buck with or without the saddle, I will start him from the beginning until the end. No whip, no spurs, no saddle. Total control, real trust. Which is something they said is impossible, and I did it. So they are wrong. So I started to say to myself, why not try and see for myself if they are right or not? So I started to break horses or start horses without the saddle. Of course, I ride the horse or break the horse without a bareback. But they say, put the saddle, put him in the paddock, let him buck, then take it off, then break him. Complete the process. I started to say, no, I will start from the beginning until the end without showing him the saddle or putting the saddle on his back. I don't need it. When I need it, he will not, or should I say, he should not be afraid of it. And I was right. Because if he accepts me on his back without bucking, if he accepts my legs on his body without bucking, if I am scaring the horse in the first day with a battle full of stones, with a big sack, a big bag, and he's not afraid. Of course, when I put the saddle on his back, he will not be afraid. With them, he was afraid with everything, and the saddle is not an exception. With the good rider, he's not afraid of anything, and the saddle is not an exception. If he's not afraid, then with the saddle, he will not be afraid. If he is afraid, then with the saddle, he will be afraid. So it's not true that you have to put the saddle on his back before riding him. It's completely true if you ride in a bad way, if you are a beginner, if you are not a good rider. If you are a true horseman, a true horsewoman who totally control the horse by totally getting his real trust, then it's not a main thing. I'm saying that out of experience. I did that with a lot of horses. Let's say 60 or 70% of the horses I broke or started, I started them without a saddle. And after 2 months or 3 months after I gallop them and they are finished, they are done, they are broke, or I started them, I just bring the saddle, put it on his back and ride him. Immediately, without leading, without putting him in the paddock, and he will not walk. He might feel a little bit weird, then he will be calm and get used to it. But he will not have a bad reaction. Because as I said before, the bad reaction is not from the saddle, not from the whip, not from the spurs, not from the scary thing, not from the water, not from the trailer, not from the saddle gate. It's from your hand or your legs. It's from you. Not from the tools, not from equipments, not from the people, not from the horse. It's from you or from the people who rode the horse or trained the horse before you. So that's my opinion about changing the way of riding from saddle to bareback or from bareback to saddle. It makes no real difference. Bad is bad here and here. Good is good here and here. Better or the best is the best here and here. So at the end there is no real difference. He will be afraid or scared. He will be feeling a little bit weird, but he keeps getting better if you are good, and he keeps getting worse if you are bad. So at the end, blame or compliment yourself. So that's my opinion about changing between bareback and saddle.